What's up, guys? On today's video, we have Nate Ancelet. Is that how you say it?
Yes, sir.
Amazing. So he is a bit different than some of the other videos on here. We've had a lot of info coaching guys, and he lives more in the pay per call and lead gen game. So Nate, kick it off. Who are you? The quick intro.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Nate Ancelet. I run a company called Money Printer Marketing. We are a leading affiliate pay-per-call network. We buy and sell traffic in dozens of different verticals, but mostly focused on like insurances. And recently I, deployed this course. So now I'm like going hard on personal content. So that's been, it's been something that's been like a new development. But our core business model is just being a affiliate network for performance marketers.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've definitely heard your name around many a time. We have plenty of mutuals, but it's funny you say that. I always joke, I'm like, I buy everyone's everything. I'm in that course. I'm in like
Right.
anything like that. I always buy and just consume on a weekend. So I watch that whole thing A to Z.
Oh,
But so
fire.
what's the difference between a network and broker, and like what are the differences in those in your
Yeah,
world?
it's the same thing essentially. It's just different terms. However, a network is like a company that would, like in my experience, if somebody came up to me and was like, "Yo, I'm a pay per call broker," or "I'm a pay per call network." When I think of a network, I think of more types and verticals and industries of offers compared to a pay per call broker, which could absolutely be in as many verticals as they want to or industries. However, typically brokers focus on 1 to 3 verticals. So they may be like, I'm a Medicare call insurance broker, right? And then also on top of that, it also comes down to what systems have you built and put into place in order to create your network, right? So the network for us is like, not only do we buy and sell traffic, but we manage traffic, we manage the quality of the traffic. We have people that are listening to all of the calls to make sure that everything's, happening the way it needs to. The whole process is built. So that's like a really like a network. Whereas a lot of times brokers, it could be, I could just be a broker where I happen to know the largest Medicare sales agency in the world. And so I'm like hanging out with my homie because he runs it as the CMO. And then I've got like, oh, he hits me up. He's like, oh bro, like I need Medicare calls. Can you find them for me? And then I just go and talk to the Nate Ancelets and the other guys that have the calls and I
Yeah,
sell them. And it's just, I'm just a broker, right? I'm just
yeah, just
making money.
arbitrage game. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It just you just charge a little rip on top, and you make a lot of money. You guys make a
Yeah.
lot of money.
So I've seen some. I think it's Andrew, the yachter guy. He made a video. So what kind of numbers are you throwing around, or do you publicly share of like where you're at, just so everyone knows who they're listening to?
Yeah, to be honest, like it's so funny because on my channel and on my page and stuff, we talk about 15 million that we've done, and like, bro, it's almost embarrassing because and you probably can relate to this, bro.
I can relate
Like,
so hard.
bro, because like 15 million to me, it's like damn, like it's only like 15 M's is laughable, bro. There's guys that do 15 M's monthly. There's
Yeah.
got like there's fucking Manny Zuccarelli. Like I've actually never met him in person. I know his partner Rich really well. Manny is a super well known guy in the space, bro. They have like 1 or 2 $100 million fucking Ringbo awards hanging up in their house, and I'm like, I'm sitting over here at 15 million. People are like, oh, you're a scammer, you're a capper. I'm like, dude, 15 M's is
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna
cool.
lie about 15. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
exactly. Like if I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna be like, yeah, we've done $85 million in
Yeah.
the past 3 years. Like, no, bro, no, we
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah, yeah.
No,
No,
it's
but it's
just
cool to see because there's so many people that are a lot of people. So the main person who watches this and like who at least the target of it is are the mid 6 figure a month guys and some 7 figure guys,
yeah,
roughly speaking.
yeah,
Mainly it's going to be info coaching because that's the world I come from. But like
yeah,
it's lead gen affiliate, it's SaaS, it's agency, it's ecom. It's like it is a vast kind of thing, and that's from X and then some of the stuff from YouTube. Because I'll talk more like business principle, but I do
yeah,
talk a lot info coaching funnels. So your VSLs, your opt-ins, your
yeah, yeah.
low
Right on.
ticket stuff. So yeah, no, I mean 15. I mean that's size, right? Like I
Yeah,
talk about, we always say on ours, we're almost at 75, which is the third
yeah.
disc on here,
Oh,
and it's
fire.
like that's ever, right?
Yeah,
It's like 30
yeah,
million was last year, which is cool
yeah,
because we're like this, but like
yeah.
it's still
Fire.
it's not that crazy. Like I know
Yeah,
guys like you said who do 15 a month in our exact space.
and you're just like, damn. And then they look at you and they're like, oh, that's cute. Like
Yeah,
you've
that's
done
cute. And oh yeah, yeah. Ryan's making videos every day about it. Yeah,
yeah, you're like, damn it, bro.
yeah,
But the thing is, though, like, once you get over a few, I would say over a few, like, I don't even want to say like a million, you can accidentally do. You can accidentally
yeah,
run something, run up $1 million, and then you're like, oh shit, that was fucking cool. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But then it can die super fast, like, as you know, with info products or like
Hmm.
Nutra products or black hat offers. Like, there's plenty of things you can run up that crush it and then die. And like that's why for me and my network, like we try to build something, we're always focusing on building something that's sustainable and something that we can maintain, and then ultimately one day hopefully sell.
Yeah. So you're one of the, I don't want to call it info coaching, but like that piece of the business that you're
Yeah.
doing it similar to someone who, I don't really want to call people out, but like there's lead gen guy who does the same thing, who is like, yes, there's a little bit of price, pay to play just so people value it. But your real game on the back end of your community on school or wherever you're on is a bigger game, right? So like
100%.
what's the play there? What's the back end version of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, no. So basically, there's a few different things. So number one is something that I've noticed, and I think we all know that are actually willing to pull our dick out and put it on the table. Sorry if we're not allowed to
You're
talk like
good.
that.
Run it. No, we're raw.
Yeah, but raw, that's crazy. But no, so the point is like if you're willing to show that you know something and you're willing to build a personal brand, the only way for people to trust you on a completely different level is if you provide raw content that shows who you are and that you have value to provide to the market. And if you're working in a very dominated industry where you have a lot of competition, you have to be able to stick out and show people like, not only do I know what I'm talking about, but I actually know it better than most people that I compete with.
Yeah.
So the first and most foremost play was the school community was created so that I was able to publish and create content and literally pay for itself, to be fair. Like I have now over 300 people in less than 3 months. I have 300 people in the group that are paying, and that's awesome. But like, if you knew the money we made, respectfully and out of all humility, thank God for our blessings. Like, dude, like 300 people paying me $30 a month is like not like, come on, what is that? That's like a fucking food bill. You know what I mean? Like that's like whatever. So the point is now the good news is the money that does bring in, it allows me to pay for the content that we produce. But I kind of stopped making content because I realized that just like posting real shit on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube that I'm just like daily life, not even daily life, but just like the industry, like that performs way better than the like me sitting in a fucking suit in a studio sweating my balls off because it's hot as shit here in Colombia. And the only time I actually have time to like focus and remove myself from everybody is to be in Colombia. Like, everyone's like, oh, I go to Colombia because of this reason or that reason. Bro, the reason why I'm in Colombia is because I can remove myself from everyone. All the distractions are gone. There's no fucking birthday parties. Like, hey, bro, come to the club on Friday because we have a birthday, and then I feel like I have to go or else I'm a douchebag friend. I don't have any of that, right? I literally am completely removed. So anyway, to get back to it is this. And I'm a mad ADHD guy, bro.
No, run it, dude. I'm telling you, these are raw, these are fun. Some people watch a clip of it and are like, cool, and then most people just watch through the end and just like play them in the background. They just want to hear the combos.
So, but now to talk about, so not only is that paying for itself, yes, great, but also I'm providing a fucking insane amount of value, right? Like the course itself, bro, for 3 months straight here in Colombia, I came to Colombia and I told myself, I'm like, I am going to focus on, I have 2 goals. 1, create a shit ton of content for a personal brand. 2, create a course and a community. And so when I created this course and community, my entire thought process was actually a lot more altruistic than people probably would think. Like, yes, can I make money on that? Yes. Can I make money with consulting calls? Yes. Can I make money with the affiliates that come from that? Yes. But bro, check this out. Check out this fucking play, okay? What if I taught people about something that you can make a fuck ton of money on, but no one knows about yet in our age and our industry? If I could teach you how to do that, and then once I provided you with the tools on how to do it, I literally, for you, curate a fat fucking community of everyone that knows the exact same shit and how to do it, that all wants to do the same thing and make money together. Now, instead of, because the biggest question I always get is, how do I get started in pay-per-call, bro? Like, how do I even start?
Yeah.
Motherfucker, there's 300 people in there that you can message and be like, can we get on a call? Because, like, I'm trying to figure out what you're doing. I want to do something. I know you're selling calls in life insurance. I'm selling calls in life insurance. Like, let's put our heads together and see if there's money to be made.
Yeah, 100%.
And so if you're able to create this and they're all brokers, bro. There's brokers and there's actual media buyers and like lead originators. So if we create this huge group of people buying traffic and people selling traffic, they all can work together to make money together. And if I would have had this fucking resource when I got started 6 years ago, dog, oh my God, shit would be different.
Yeah.
Because the thing
No,
about
100%.
pay per call in this game is it's not about who's got the best calls. It's not about who's got the most elite form of AI that you can put to qualify your. No, it's literally about relationships. Like, can you go to a conference, find an old dude that you start getting drunk with at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he starts venting to you about how his wife is a piece of shit and she took the kids, and you're just sitting there like, oh damn, that's horrible, bro. And then he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm actually the CMO of Allstate, and you're like, oh, and he's like, you're really cool. We should do business, and you're like, yeah. And then you get it, and then all of a sudden you have this fucking relationship, bro. This whole game
That's
it's
so
about
interesting.
relationships, bro.
It's so
It's all about
interesting.
relationships. You can
Yeah.
always find better traffic, bro. You can always find better traffic. Like,
Yeah.
there's a million fucking media buyers out there. You give them a landing page, you say, drive traffic with this angle of this creative, and they're gonna fucking do it, and they can do it insane numbers. But, like, not everyone can get and manage those relationships. So
Yeah.
if you can focus on that part, bro, the game's over. And then
Yeah,
finally, the last part of the long game is just affiliate acquisition. Like, yes, I'm getting some of the biggest fucking affiliates that are in my space currently in that group, and then also getting cold audiences that are massive media buyers, guys that are doing 1.5 $3 million a month in ad spend, right? And it's not just one or two. In every vertical you could think of, insurance, motor vehicle accident, fucking torts, everything you could think of, they are all coming to this group to learn pay per call. So it's like, bro, we have some of the biggest, like, the conversations I've been having with people has been insane. And that's ultimately what I'm doing, is just like, I'm trying to put as many, that's my only skill. I suck at everything. I suck at media buying. I fucking suck at basketball. Okay. I can't think, like, my brain sucks, but I am really good at bringing
Yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
together.
You're sociable. There's no doubt. Yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
this
That's
is all
it.
like your 2020, your 2025 come up is real. Like these
Real, bro.
conversations, these big ones. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So my quick on this. So I was in Puerto Rico for the last 3. So
Fire.
I have a couple of those friends down there. Like I'm close friends with Maury, and I got some other guys that
The
say not to
vibes.
be named, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
just just those
Yeah,
guys.
oh God.
Yeah. And no, but so I have some experience in the game. When we were building up this info coaching thing, it was more so like I was just kind of in a lot of the tech pieces, but it was low workload. We were just going to cash flow biz. We weren't going to scale it like too aggressively, but now we are. But I was doing a ton of like marketing tech style stuff behind some big guys that were spending 200 a day. And
Yeah.
they were doing a lot of ACA. They were doing like some random affiliate launch stuff, which is a little different, but like big in the pay per call game, to my understanding, and like where I was. So I was in there building ring buff flows. I'm doing like
fire.
every post, every this
Yeah.
into whatever lead prosper and back, and then into sheets and like look like I was doing all that kind of stuff, and it opened my eyes to it.
Yeah.
And the first call I end up having on here when I start doing stuff on X is with Adam Young, and he's like, "Oh, let's just jam." So we just pop on. Never met him, and we just like he just blew my mind. So I've had his book, I've watched his whole paper class, and like to this day, I'm like, well, the next or like the side quest that I'm gonna make is some paper call, like just juggernaut thing on the side that's scalable, that's lean, that I can just sell, that is just like a 0 to 1 thing because I've never done it.
Yeah.
So like when I saw you guys tweeting about or talking about the insurance focus. So is that where you're leaning now? Is insurance mainly?
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah,
For
just
sure.
the game,
Dude. Yeah, like 100%. Yeah, because like the thing is this, bro. With home services is fire, but home services is primarily dominated in terms of traffic generation from Google. Yeah, from Google traffic, right? People
like intense.
rarely like Google search,
Yeah.
native, YouTube. But as we all know, like if you have a Facebook account, right, that's like cracked with one specific pixel, right? Because it just knows debt settlement or it knows ACA. Like you got it. It's the same thing with Google, right? If you have Google, you have a good ad account or you have good people that like get you priority in terms of placements, all the different things that you can do on Google, you can dominate that. The problem is that there's only so much fucking search volume, right? So there's only so many people that are searching for solar near me or roofing near me or window replacement near me. And most of the home services verticals, do not perform near as fucking well with social traffic as they do with search, which is probably fucking pretty consistent with everything ever, right? Any offer is always going to perform better with search because the intent is there.
Yeah.
However, social is crazy for insurances, and social is where you can scale, right? Like, yes, you can do, several hundred, maybe several thousand calls a day with insurances on, Medicare, on Google search, no question. I mean, you can do a fuck ton of volume, but specifically with home services, I mean, if you're doing a couple hundred billable a day, you got a super healthy campaign. And like
Yeah.
me as a broker, I make $5 to $10 a call. I'm not. I have a saying, don't be a pig, pigs get slaughtered. So I only take $5 to $10 per call. So if I have two opportunities, if I can focus on solar, or I'm gonna do 150 billables a day times $10 per call, or even $20 per call, that margin comparatively to 5,000 calls a day for $5 in billable margin a call, bro, my fucking scale is like
Yeah.
it's like non-comparable,
Yeah.
right? So that's why for me as a broker, I focus on insurances. Also, CPAs are significantly easier to manage with insurances. So your buyer retention is like way better than
Yeah.
like solar. Because like solar, bro, it fluctuates $2,500, $3,500 per sale. You know what I'm saying? The traffic's expensive. There's not a whole lot of it. It's just fucking hard. So
Yeah.
yes, like long story long, yeah, insurances is 100% our play.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I want to talk offline about this for sure because I have a fun domain about this. So I ran an info style like VSL funnel for whole life insurance. So they were doing
nice.
the infinite banking game. So it was like with direct. I had direct relationships with actual like advisors, and
Right.
we were just landing leads. And I mean, they were qualified. The cost
Yeah.
per was gas, but
Why'd you
because
stop?
what?
Why'd you stop?
Because the consumption ring of it was too short and they weren't necessarily the best. I mean, you're talking to a 60-something-year-old about taking $5 million out of their 401k and
Yeah.
pushing it basically into a whole policy and like
Yeah.
crazy commissions. And, LTV to CAC was there, but like the time trough and the consumption, the drop off was just crazy. So there's guys who have crushed it with this. And like
Yeah.
you look at some of the bigger guys that have these huge education moats, but aren't.
Yeah.
That's the big thing is the consumption, education moat, the trust that needs to be there in order to do the size of those type of transactions.
Yep.
So it just was like I wasn't in the full zone of it. I was really just running marketing and marketing tech and not like any of the back like I would now.
Yeah.
But there's just a total play. I have the most baller B2B domain for this, for that specific that I still hold. So I have a buddy, I'm like talking about just launching it like siloed, just like media buyer, a creative, and like a biz dev guy, and just having like a 3-man team and just go to war.
Bro,
But
100%.
yeah. So who do you see? I mean, you know the game. You've been in the game. Lead gen, affiliate, pay per call. So like within lead gen, you've got forums, you've got like what's like the dream stack? Because you're gonna have a lot of people who are gonna be media buyers or something that's gonna listen to this. So like, is it start as a media buyer? Is it just ram 24/7 forums? Is it start with pay per call? Like what's hot now? I don't even know.
So it's actually, I just had this conversation because I do consulting calls now, which was a very recent development. But I started doing I did this consulting call with this guy who's like, yo, I have a lot of experience with media buying. Like, should I start in pay-per-call? And the thing is this, it depends on what you want to build, right? So some people, like pay-per-call is very different, and it is an entirely different beast than pay-per-lead. And the reason why is because of all of the variables outside of what you can simply manage that impacts the performance of the campaign. So when we think pay-per-call, we got to think, let's just say Facebook ad for life insurance, final expense. Facebook ad, you're going to drive to a landing page. When you drive to the landing page, it's going to qualify, then it's going to populate the click to call button. Then they click the call button, and then it gets routed in. Now, the current setups with buyers is it's called RTB, real-time bidding. So essentially, you're shooting this call is coming into your tracking system. Shout out Retriever. It comes into your
Really?
Retriever.
I didn't know that.
Oh, dude, I
Really?
Retriever dog all day, every day. Yeah, all day, every day.
Dude,
100%.
I've set up in there and I've set up in Ringba, and obviously I have no cat in I got nothing in the fight, but like,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, continue. Sorry.
100%. Yeah, I mean, Ringba has its perks, but I'm not gonna dog on Ringba. All I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
I respect Ringba. Adam, he's a good guy. We're in like a lot of the same like high level affiliate chats. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing but respect for the guy. We've had several conversations in interviews. But yeah, dude, Retriever all day, every day. And I could give you the story on why if you want. And there's like, it's not tea, but there's a very good reason why.
But they both do the job, right? It's like me saying I'm on WordPress versus Webflow. Like it does the job.
Yes, it very much does the job.
it.
It just
Got
has
it.
to do with what do you want to use. And my team and my operations manager and the president of my company, she's like, dude, like we're only ever going to use Retriever. I'm like,
Yeah. So Maury set everything up on back in the day too.
yeah. So anyway, so you shoot so really quick to go back, add landing page, you shoot the call into your RTB. Now the RTB is very hard because essentially what an RTB is, real-time bidding, it allows buyers in their system to determine based on where that lead is coming from, social or search or whatever, and then what state it's in, and whatever filters that landing page is filtering for. A lot of times they request that you pass the data with the call.
Yep.
And again, this is like the intricacies that come with pay-per-call. So now you shoot the call in, it's bidded on real time, and there's also an agent availability ping that is typically plugged into the RTB to determine if there's an agent availability. So if the call comes in, they're not just fucking ringing and ringing and ringing. They're able to determine real time, is there an agent available to take this call? Now, let's say there's an agent available to take this call. God fucking willing. So now the call comes in, the agent's available, they take the call. And then now we have an agent. So now we can talk about the agent's performance. Hi, this is John. And then the caller's like, hi. And they're like, how can I help you? And they're like, I just saw this ad for health insurance. Oh, yeah. You're looking for health. And you're like, dude, like, you know where this call is coming from. It's from an assigned DID, which is a phone number that you gave me. You know what's going on. Why are you picking up the phone saying, hello, I think this is John? Like, what? Like, you need to have a sales process. Hello, thank you for calling the Enrollment Center. Are you looking for a new life insurance policy today? Yes, I am. Okay, outstanding. It's very excited to have this conversation. Are you currently over the age of, and then immediately qualifying, right? And then so we're qualifying, and then there's the buffer. So for those that don't know the buffer, I'll just very briefly explain it. A buffer or a duration is simply a period of time that you as an affiliate are allotting to the buyer for them to have a conversation with the potential prospect, the call, or that is calling in. It is a specific amount of time that you guys agree upon to qualify them. And if they are not qualified, they hang up the phone and the call is not a billable lead. However, if they have that call and it goes past that predetermined time, 90 seconds, 10 seconds, 120 seconds, whatever that conversation is, if it goes past that, now it is considered a billable call. So now that it's gone past the billable, now they have to close that person and they have to manage those CPAs and all of those things, which is difficult. However, there's some pros to that, because with leads, so that's basically the entirety of pay-per-call.
Yeah, that's the call portion versus the lead portion, okay?
Right? Whereas a lead portion is, ad creative to the landing page that's typically hosted by the buying party.
Yeah, difference there, right? Instead of you self-hosting your landers and your click to call, you're just sending it to their hosted link.
Yeah, their page, which we have, right? Like, we have offers like that. So then they shoot the traffic in, and as soon as that lead's populated, it posts back real time, and boom, you're paid. Like, that's all. Like, or at least you're showing to be paid, right? Like, it's like there's no more gray area in terms of, is this lead going to be billable or not? So, like, if I were a brand new media buyer, somebody that comes from e-com, it may make more sense to start with a lead form offer only. But, and this is a huge but, it really comes down to your buyer, right? Because you want to have a conversation with your buyer. If you're my buyer and I want to generate, let's just stick with health insurance, like ACA. Say you're an ACA buyer and I come to you and I'm like, listen, this is what I'm capable of generating. I want to generate you calls, but I need to make sure that there is no RTB bullshit. You're going to pay me $40 for every call that I generate that lasts over 90 seconds. And I'm going to be shooting as many calls in, and you're going to have plenty of agents available to me. If that buyer's like, done, let's do it, let's move on, like, just send me good traffic, that may make more sense for you if you have a good buyer with proven sales processes and proven sales strategies, with a large enough team to withstand any level of volume that you can send him, no matter if it's 3 calls a day or 3,000 calls a day or whatever you're willing to agree upon, right? So like, that's one buyer, that's like a great instance. Or maybe you go to a buyer and you're like, hey, listen, I want to generate leads for you. And this is the landing page that I've created for you. And this is the traffic and how I'm going to generate those leads with the social ad placements. So there's Google search ad placements. I'm going to drive the traffic to this lander. They're going to fill out this form. I need an integration to your CRM. And every time we generate a lead, I just want you to pay me $30 or $20. And my job as an affiliate is to make sure that when you're buying those leads at $30 a pop, that we're hitting the target cost per acquisition goals on the back end for you. And I'm also making sure that my cost per lead is lower than $30. So again, it really comes down to the conversation that you have with the buyer and the agreement that you're able to come to with them. So again, and that ultimately just comes down to what the setup is. So it's not really like, oh, if you're new, you should do pay per call, or oh, you should do affiliate, or like you should do leads. If you're brand fucking new, I would absolutely go to like shout out Scale Club. Like they're a good company and they host a lot of forum offers. And so basically, like you as a media buyer, you just hit them up and you're like, hey, I want to like run your debt offer. And they give you a landing page, and then you just get your creatives approved with them, and then you drive the traffic to their landing page, and then it posts back in Everflow, which is the tracking system, and it's all fucking kosher.
Yeah.
You know, like that's probably the
yeah.
easiest way to start.
Yeah, dude, this game is so interesting to me, and I'm for sure, at least on the back end of this, going to pick your brain. We're going to build one live. But so you've got inside your lead gen, you've got your pay per call, and then from there, it's generally like you're calling it the buffer. So call it 90 second, whatever, 120. You have your things. You have pay per lead within there. You have rev share models in there, and then you have forms that are like kind of the same. It's like per lead or rev share.
Yeah. So as a network, you typically work on a rev share model. So like you can call it whatever you want, a cost per call model. Ultimately, it's a rev share, right? You're as a buyer, if you're reselling that traffic to an end client, you are essentially aggregating traffic. So because of that, you will have a margin on your side. So because of that, if the buyer is paying you $40 and you're paying out $30, you have a 25% margin, right? The $10 of the 40. So you're still technically working on a rev share, but then there's also another way where it's a cost per sale model, and they can call it a rev share like that. So it's like instead of you getting paid on a billable call, a duration, you get paid when something turns into a sale, aka CPA. We still as a company make more, like I post shit on Retriever, or like Retriever screenshots on X, bro, like those aren't even our numbers. Those are like some of our numbers. Most of my money comes from direct relationships that I have connected outside of our organization. I do not pay for tracking. I do not pay for anything. All I do is I'm just like, hey, Mr. Buyer, I don't want to broker this traffic because I respect you and love you. And I also respect and love this media buyer a lot. I would rather just connect you guys. You pay me $5 a call, give me access to your Retriever account, and then I'll just watch it, and then I'll have my accounting team bill you every week. That is how we make the most amount of fucking money. Now, we also have our network where we make great money. Thank you, God. We're blessed. We make great money with our network where we do have media buyers that just run our shit. But for the select few that we know do crazy numbers, that we can trust with everything, and I'm willing to introduce to my client directly as a buyer, bro, it makes way more sense to just let them work together, especially in like very government managed verticals like Medicare, right? Like when anything funky could go on, bro, just let them connect. Make sure you have a good relationship with both of them. And like my relationships are so good, where like they won't burn me. And if they did burn me, I would just pull up to their house and be like, "Fuck you and your wife, bro. I know you guys like hung out, bro. Like we're gonna talk shit about you." Now.
We hung out before, bro.
We hung out before, dog.
Yeah.
Like
So the stack, and there's pros and cons, I'm sure, to all of this, because you can have broker. You can have, we're gonna call media buyer over here. You're gonna have media buyer, you're gonna have broker, and you're gonna have client. That client side can go even further, because you can have, like you said, a CMO of Allstate, or you can go direct to an agent, or you can go, home service example. There's the regional guys that buy in volume and then do the distribution. And like obviously pros and cons, because if not, you're routing to all these. You've got no standardization of scripts. You've got hours, all that stuff. So the main play then is just that right there. So you're trying to go like as big as you can almost on buyers, and consistent high volume guys on media buying is like the dream state.
That's honestly such an awesome question, because it comes down to what do you want to build, right? So there's like the fucking eLocal, right? They arguably buy the most traffic out of anybody, but and specifically in home services, but they charge a 50% margin, right? So they're buying calls and they're paying you $90. They're getting paid 180, right? So like you're looking and you're going, damn, if 50% margin and all you're doing is managing the buyers, like that's very thick. Like in our network, we typically pay out no less than 75%. Like on our really healthy campaigns that we've been running for years, and we know the buyer and we've worked years to nurture that relationship. I've gone through horrible things with them, and now I've got my payout really nice. Like I'll be paying out, 75%. On a new buyer where we're trying to build a relationship, I'll be paying out 90%. Whereas guys like eLocal, they have all their processes, and yes, they manage hundreds or maybe thousands of different buyers in different, dozens of different verticals, but they charge 50%. But the scalability, because of the nationwide coverage, is a lot of times more attractive, because if you can run, a $90 payout across 30,000 zip codes compared to 7 zip codes by,
Yeah.
XYZ
Yeah.
Solar in freaking Southern California. Like, and yeah, sure, they'll pay you $200 a call, which is awesome. But like you said, no standardization within buyer scripts or whatever. So if you wanted to create an eLocal and you wanted to build out a biz dev arm that's like solely focused on finding smaller clients to put together, no matter if it's insurances, no matter if it's legal, right? Because there's torts, there's MVA firms, there's everything
Yeah.
you could think of that are all buying this traffic. So ultimately, it comes down to what do you want your buyer stack to look like, and what would you ultimately like to build?
Yeah. Interesting. So for you, I mean, right now your main thing is broker, but like, what is your, because there's the cash flow game. This is very simply put, but there's like the cash flow game and there's a potential for exit, like machine game, right? And
Yeah.
you can overlap on both of them. You can do that whole game, but like, does the broker model sell? Like, are there other people who buy your book essentially? Or is it more so if you want to go to this next layer, is it you have your own in-house media buying team that runs your own basically brokered connections? So you guys make the spread there that you'd make as a media buyer and you make it here. Is it, you go, like you said, e-local and you just go massive in this in-between broker network game? Is it, what's the end game or options?
So our end game is following the path of Assurance. So Assurance sold for, I think, like $2.3 billion. And their whole model started out as they were just a small little rinky-dink marketing agency. At least this is what I was told, that they were a small marketing agency, and then they just started building on insurance sales floors. And then they started building a fat-ass book of clients, like thousands of policies. And then they got sold to Prudential for billions. So my goal now is I am sick and tired of, like, it's a really good way to make money and fast money as an affiliate. But I'm tired of chasing checks.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to bring the control internally. And I am fine, like, because if I wanted to build out my media buying team, basically what I would have to do is I would have to look at my media buying team in the face and say, listen, I know that you are about to compete with our affiliates who are literally the most autistic and insanely cracked media buyers on this fucking planet. I have in my helm and the people that we manage and the lead buyers or the media buyers that we have in our affiliate network are literally the best in the world. So I would have to go to my media buying team and be like, hey guys, yeah, we got like, $30,000-$40,000 a month, for like, a year, maybe 2 years to like really figure this out. And they're like, okay, this would be a David and Goliath play. So instead of me trying to build out and compete with these insanely high quality media buyers that have been doing this for years with super warm pixels, you know what I'm saying? They've got the incredible ad accounts. They have all of the best of everything that you need for media buying. The insane video makers, the UGCs, everything you could think of, they already have. I would have to try to learn and replicate, which will take hella time. So me as a broker, I have two options. I can either A, attempt to compete with the media buyers that I am currently running, which is almost low-key a conflict of interest, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to submit their creatives to me. So if they submit their creatives to me and I'm just like, hey,
Yeah.
media buying team, here you go. Or they have to not trust me and then they're sending me non-real, the fake creatives. And if they're sending me fake creatives, now I'm submitting that to buyers. If shit gets, now it's a whole fucking process. So honestly, me building out an internal media buying team is actually a conflict of interest that affects the people that are the very heartbeat of my organization.
Yeah.
So if instead of me looking to compete with my affiliates, if I flip that around, which a lot of networks do, by the way, instead of doing that, if I can solely compete with these fucking penthouse chillin' nerds with managing relationships that they could never manage, because if their fucking Cheerios are flipped around in the wrong side of the cupboard, they're tripping balls. Imagine how it is with their campaigns and their money, right? So if they're going to a buyer, hey, you guys aren't picking up the phone, and it's like, whoa, hey, fuck you. We don't need you as an affiliate. Like, go away. We're going to work with these other guys. That is where my value as a broker comes in, because specifically with the affiliates, because now they can come to me and they know that Nate is going to protect them. Nate is going to go and find the biggest and the best buyers that we can connect to, the carriers, the massive fucking name brand sales agencies. They know that Nate's going to pay them, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Whereas buyers, they can trip, they can flip, it can just be a whole fucking thing. So if instead they can just work with me, and then I can compete with them way better in terms of buyer management and buyer
Yeah, for
acquisition.
sure.
Easy all day long. Like any of them, I will destroy them, right? Look, respectfully, no arrogance, all
Yeah,
humility.
yeah,
That is just what I'm good at.
yeah.
So because of that, I would rather compete with them on that side and then manage them as affiliates and their media buying traffic and work that way. So then now what my play is to sell is I'm currently in the process of building out a final expense sales floor. So
Got it. Like in person, real team.
no, virtual
Ah.
actually. But and bro, we're gonna man,
I've
that's just
seen
gonna
some of
be
those
so
guys, and
stupid.
I assume it's the same, but there's definitely the Miami Penthouse kids that do that version too right
Oh
now
yeah,
that are, I think, like, down the pyramid, like second, third down the rung, but then have
yeah.
these other like armies under them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you go up that stack and like
And
that's
like
a,
we already are, you know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
just had a call with the largest provider of contracts in the country this morning, and I had the second largest yesterday. So we're like having conversations like, look, we are a leading provider of the best final expense traffic in the game. I will have the lowest CPAs in the game for my salespeople. I will have the best traffic for those salespeople. Like my game is just poach as many final expense agents from other floors, bring them on, let them work virtually, make sure that they're doing their shit, have the lowest CPAs in the game. I will make the most money out of everybody because I have the best traffic. I will get the best agents because in order to get the best agents, you have to do two things. Provide the best fucking traffic so they make the most money and close the most amount of deals. And two, provide them the best contracts and the best comp plan. And because I'm going to be at the fucking top of the top, I'm going to get the best fucking comp plan. You
yeah,
feel me? And I'm going to let them just work from home because I already know that's the game. Like,
yeah,
sure, you can have a boiler room, you can have a floor. Yes, they're going to want to do it. But like one thing I've learned about my entire company, it's only me and my business partner that are onshore. And we have a fuck ton of staff that are offshore. The one thing I've learned is if you want to attract the best talent, you have to provide them the atmosphere that talent wants to work in. And the reality is the best of the best talent does not want to fucking dress in a suit and go to the
no, yeah,
office
yeah,
every single
yeah,
day.
not
They
now,
want to
yeah,
sit in their pajamas and fucking close deals and they will kill it. They will fucking kill it. So
yeah,
it's like that's the atmosphere I want to create. Is like I don't care what you do as long as you take the sales calls from 10 to 6 and you're closing fucking policies and you're taking my leads, motherfucker. I have the best leads in the game. So you're going to come and take my leads, like your ass is definitely going to be closing. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's like
so that stack looks like, so in an example that I had when I was doing these whole life ones, I got connected
yeah,
with a bunch of these people in this wrong, and like my understanding of this was like right here, right? Like I
yeah,
didn't know what I didn't know, and
yeah,
we were running, 5 to 10 calls a day, but they were these crazy high, it was massive commissions that were
yeah.
on these and very
Insane.
qualified. So it wasn't like
Yeah,
this, volume game. But
yeah,
I very quickly got introduced to some people that had, 300 people on the floor and wanted it just flooded. But it would have been a different type of buy cycle. It would have been a pay per call. It would have been like an inbound game versus like a
yeah.
book in, like a VSL book to call funnel, which is what I was running.
Got it.
But so in that model, let's use that as an example, so we don't fully dox your whole situation. But like, let's say that was, I think, annuities at the time is what they were basically using. So in an annuity thing, you would go to someone that has, instead of you using their 300 person floor, you're going to go to them and you're going to provide that same thing, but you're going to have your own team under you, essentially, of actual live, like true agents that are
Yep.
true advisors that have their certifications, that have their things.
Yep.
You guys are then going to have a deal with them where you get, you're getting the lead flow, but you're also getting override, or essentially whatever you're going to call it, on that for them in that industry specific, and you're going to manage the entire affiliate team as an external situation, and you're going to do your own leads for your own team within this bigger organization.
No.
Is that
So I'm setting up my entire independent organization. It's going to be my
interesting?
book. I'm going to own the book. I'm going to pay the salaries of the agents. I'm going to pay for the traffic for the agents. Like everything like that is going to be managed on my side. And we will continue like in the cash flow of that team, right? Because my whole mentality now, literally, is how can I pay for my new business by paying for it with other business?
Yeah.
So like I was talking about with content, the reason why I wanted to go personal brand, but I also wanted to make sure that when I'm doing the personal brand, I'm getting that shit paid for, and I'm doing
Yeah.
that from a community which I spent fucking months
Yeah.
building out the course content for, right? So if I can spend months building out the course content, monetize that, which is going to feed the cash flow into the personal brand, which is then going to feed the cash flow into finding these agents, which is then going to feed, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
it's a whole
We,
roll.
we, we have a joke internally that's like, oh, like on the P&L, we're like, oh yeah, well, let's rob Peter to pay Paul, but we also want to like Paulina and Peter and whatever, because it's like we need, like, if you make up this margin here, you like don't want to pay it all out, so you got to like rob all these
Exactly.
people. But the
Yeah.
other one of that is like you want to rob Nate 1.0 to pay Nate 2.0, right? Like you're
Hell
paying
yeah.
your next adventure into it, and you're constantly just doubling down to self or other business, which is yourself, right? Like, so that's
100%.
interesting. So how does that work with like licensing and regulation and all that? Because that's why I would envision you'd be under a bigger entity, like
Yeah.
or I don't know an example of this, but like let's say Allstate or something, which I
Yeah.
understand is not that, but like. So you're not going to be under them as like some big kingpin that then has a bunch of people under you. When you're an independent agency, don't you have to have all the licensing, all the regulation, all the compliance? Like, isn't
Yeah.
that a big deal?
Oh, it's a huge deal, and like you gotta take it super seriously. Like it's a super legit thing, but like man, you're not gonna get bought out for hundreds of $1,000,000 by
No, by playing
like,
small, you're not.
by
Yeah.
playing small. So and like the good news is, bro, like another thing that I learned about business is just man, take it slow. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like we can start out with literally one agent. We figured out I've got already 5, 6 guys that that are like Nate, please like let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start out with one, maybe 2 agents. We're going to test out which traffic works the best with our specific offer. We're going to get them contracted. It's going to take a few months. Like I'm not planning on going from 0 to $100 million in 3 months, right? I have the realistic mentality now, which is like we're going to get the contracts. That's going to take 3 to 6 weeks. Then we have to get people licensed under our contract. That's going to take another 3 to 6 weeks. So we're 12 weeks out before we can even start selling policies.
Yeah.
Now that we start selling policies, we're like, oh wait, this is gonna work. So let's get 2 more agents. Now we got a team of 3, and then we go from 3 to 8, and then from 8 to 15, and then all of a sudden we're like, holy fuck, we have 15 agents closing all these policies. Like we're making money on the lead side, and then we're also making money with these agents building this out. Now we can either see. My bad, that was a fly. I thought there was like a cat like on my face. I was like, where's this cat?
Columbia, yeah, Columbia. You never know what's making it up. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought a cat. Like I could have just been a fly. I don't know. But anyway, so you can start out small and then you can kind of snowball it into creating something that's a lot more attractive to the type of people that you're trying to attract into your firm. And like, bro, we're not like I know who you're talking about. Those guys, they're like 18 or they're like 23 years old. They've got these big personal brands. They're driving the fucking Ferraris. They're like, oh, come work for me. And all that is to get a bunch of 18-year-olds to come in there, get licensed, sell it a little bit. But like, bro, their average agent is doing like, $5,000-$6,000 a month in premiums. And like, bro, I want my agents doing $10,000-$15,000 a week in premiums. And so what that means is I have to attract the best of the best. I'm not looking to, run the personal brand where I'm getting a bunch of 18-year-olds that want to come in and figure out how to learn life insurance. I want to be like, I want to flip it. I want to be like, guys, I want the best of the best fucking life insurance agents that want to come and work for me because I provide the best of the best leads.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if that's what I can provide, I will attract the best of the best. And I provide the best of the best work atmosphere and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unfortunately we do have to do it super fucking legit. And the days of running gray is just like gone.
Yeah. We've never.
But like, bro, you're doing millions a year in revenue. Like, if you're running gray, man, it's just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of some horror stories in the Lead Gen, Black Hat, whatever game. Like, we've never played that ever. I mean, our stuff is very, very, very white.
Okay. Yeah,
it lays in that land. But I don't know. I mean, so what's the difference between that and something have you guys ever done anything that's affiliate direct to cart style stuff? Because the other thing I've heard about an issue here is the quality assurance, the caps, which obviously you're balancing both, rock and hard place there where you have caps or like availability or whatever.
Yeah.
But for example, the Medicare stuff, like I was talking to some buddies, they're like, yeah, we just need more cap. We need more cap. They won't give it to us because it's too, like we would have too much of their book to where it would be too much of a risk. It's not that the cap doesn't exist. It's that you almost have to do it other entity, like trying to play this whole game. Like how do you see that with scale versus something that's direct to cart for these like affiliate guys?
Yeah, the direct to cart is fire. The e-com offers are fucking fire for affiliates that want to run that shit. The only problem is normally those offers don't last, right?
Yeah.
Like they may fucking crush for 3, 6, maybe 8 months. Like you're just fucking printing. Then it's gone, right? Life insurance, man, it's not going anywhere. Health insurance, not going anywhere. Auto insurance, you literally have to have auto insurance to be able to legally drive in the States, right? So it's like these are like things that you have to fucking have. It's not like solar, how you're like, oh, I might get. No, you have to have these insurance policies. So, or at least they're very much needed, things like final expense. So, because of that, it's something that's going to be around forever. And even if you're doing smaller numbers, if you know that you're able to make a consistent, $20,000, $50,000 profit a month running small caps on a Medicare campaign that makes more sense to me as a business owner and as a CEO to run that for a shorter amount of time or for a long amount of time, and then add in the other offers that you can pump and dump. And then like, okay, yeah, this was great for 8 months, but it doesn't matter. The good news is we're still making 30 a month because we got this fire ass Medicare deal with this direct buyer. Yeah. But the caps thing is very real. And to just kind of give some more context very quickly about why that exists is because the problem is if a buyer has 300 salespeople and they give out a total cap, we'll call it CC. So CC is concurrent calls. It's the amount of calls that you can have concurrently live at one time. If you have 300 agents, that means you have 300 CC of availability. If you give 250 CC to one affiliate and you've got 50 CC floating to 2 or 3 other affiliates, if that one affiliate decides, fuck you, I'm getting paid from somebody else way better, I'm just going to send that traffic elsewhere. Or, I don't like you today, I'm just going to pause it. Or, oh shit, all my ad accounts went down, we can't generate traffic. Now you have 250 agents that you're paying salary that are no longer getting traffic. So it is imperative that these Medicare companies diversify that cap, which is actually a good thing for affiliates, because then you're not going to have the quote velocities that just come in and they take over literally the entire cap because they're just the behemoths. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, no, we're just going to take all 300 and everybody else can, I don't know, eat a dick, right? Yeah. That's just like, it is what it is, sorry, right? So that's where it really comes. It's actually a pro and a con. But, either way, Medicare is... and then the insurances, man, they can make a lot of money, especially during open enrollment, man. But then that is another thing is seasonality, right? So there's like 2 to 3 months, like August, September, October, August, September, and then the beginning of October is just completely fucking dead in Medicare and ACA because the open enrollment period.
Yeah. So have you been around when, I think it was ACA, and I don't know enough about this game in this space, but you hear about the guys that crack it when one of these new programs comes out, right? That like are the first two, and I don't know whether that's compliance regulation, like, they're the first allowed or if they're just the first to fire. But I've heard of some major, like, 9-figure windfalls that people are hitting when they are first to market or on the runner up. So like, do you guys stay privy to that? Like, I don't know, ACA is a good example. I know Medicare, Obamacare, whatever, when those came out, there were some guys that cooked who had the initial stuff. Yeah. Like, is there a game for that? Is there you just wait and see, and then when it becomes a thing, you just hop on it? Or
so that's yes. Like, basically, ACA came about 3-5 years ago, like heavily, and the reason it came about heavily was because these guys were already selling Medicare. So it was the guys that already had been doing lead gen for Medicare. They'd already had the relationships, created. And then all of a sudden, ACA came as an opportunity, and a couple of people, I don't want to name names, but a couple of people brought to light the opportunity of running ACA as an offer. And then they contracted with the Medicare teams for them to start having the ACA agents. And at this time, it was still, nobody knew about it. So you had like 2 to 5 insanely heavy hitter affiliates that are experienced with Medicare that just start running ACA. And then they start fucking smashing it, right? And they ran it up. So the reality is it all comes back to relationships, right? If you were the guy that had been doing Medicare for 2-3 years with this one buyer, and then they hit you up and say, hey, you're one of our leading providers, you provide good quality, you're always there, you stand by your word, you invoice us on time, you're not a headache. Like, we have this new offer we really want you to test. Like, I'll give you a fuck ton of cap, just smash the shit and make sure it performs well, and we're not giving it out to a bunch of people. Again, the only way you would get that is through developing that relationship. So that's why I say this game is all about relationships. So my problem, and I'd love to talk about my experience quickly with this, my problem and the biggest lesson, brother, the biggest lesson I learned with business, sorry, somebody's grinding. The biggest lesson I learned with business is this. If all of the whales are doing something, if all of the biggest ships turn tide, follow the ships. Don't be that motherfucker that's like, I'm taking my little rowboat and I'm going this way because, these guys, they're going to make money. But I'm going to figure out solar. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do this because this is, and then all of a sudden, guess what? There's a fat fucking storm. And that is why those ships turned, because that storm came down and it came down heavy, and you are now floating in the middle with nothing because your boat is fucked and you're cooked and your business is down. And that is what I did in ACA with inbounds. Is I was a transfer guy, right? So I was outbound dialing on data. We were generating transfers and we were sending them in. And I was fucking determined, dog, that I was going to be the guy that makes ACA transfers go crazy. And we did. But nothing in comparison to the guys that did inbounds.
Yeah.
Bro, the guys that were doing inbounds, bro, they were running 100, 150 CC all day long. Bro, they're doing fucking millions a month. Like, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to hit $30 million in the next 6 months off this one ACA offer with these 3 ACA buyers. Like, there's just so much cap. There's so much demand. It's so hot on Facebook because everyone's like, whoa, $6,400 in health insurance subsidy. What the fuck is that? Like, I'm down. Everybody's calling. The like amount that it costs to generate that call was like a tenth of what it is now. So the margins were there. Everything was so sexy. But then there was little Nate that was like, oh no, I'm going to figure out this transfer thing. And I'm trying to sell transfers to buyers. They're like, we don't want it. The compliance, like, we'd rather do inbounds. Do you have inbounds? I'm like, no, I do transfers. Like, I'm going to stick by my guns and do it because I'm just a fucking hardhead like that. But then again, it was honestly such a blessing in disguise that I learned that. Because just like people were making money, I know a lot of people that got burnt a lot of bread. I'm talking M's, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the worst part about it is if you're a broker and you're buying and reselling that traffic, you owe the affiliates. Like, they sent you that traffic. You still need to pay that bill, but you didn't get paid. And if you have an 8M bill that just gets stiffed and you're like, hey guys, I got some bad news for you. You know, like, I don't have $8 million for you. I'm fucking sorry. So then, you know, and we've been in that. It happened with our transfers. We had a really shitty situation about 2 years ago now, where we had a really bad call come in. It was a litigator, so we got sued. And then, you know, I owed almost $400,000, and like, we were doing, you know, good money, but like, I didn't have $400,000 to pay out to my affiliates. So you have to have those really hard conversations. And again, it all comes down to relationships. You know, there was like, I probably had like 7 different affiliates who were running it. 2 of the affiliates were really large, and I was very comfortable with them and calm with them. And I called them and I'm like, man, this is what happened. We're not going to get paid for 12 months. And they were like, fuck, like, you got anything for me? And I'm like, I can give you like 30 right now. And like, that's putting me in a horrible spot. I don't know how I'm paying my rent, but like, I know I owe you a lot of bread. I'm just going to get you that 30 and I'm going to let me figure out the rest. And I'm sorry, I know I owe you fucking 212, but I can only give you 30 right now. And like, hang in there with me. Every month I'm going to pay, or like, come up with an agreement, whatever that looks like. And you just hang in there with your affiliates. So to answer your question, sorry, again, long story.
No, it's great.
Is like, you know, can these offers hit? Fuck yeah, man, absolutely. But just know who you're in bed with. Just know who you're in bed with, and understand that every business has a risk, bro. And like, dude, you're just generating traffic. Like, it's not like you're out here building a fucking building. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally just running traffic on Facebook. So if you get cooked, like, you got to just know, like, this is the game. You know, you flip some levers, dog. You know?
Yeah. So let's talk the depth of one of these, and then I want to pick your brain on some specifics and be selfish here. But so like ACA, for example, the chain of that, like of who's getting paid, because I have friends that are in your world. We have a lot of mutuals, and like, I've done some marketing tech in that game. I've been part of a lot of conversations, but like, I've actually run like 20, 25 a day in someone else's that basically had all this stuff, needed more eyes on ad accounts because they had so much going on, and they were just boys. And I was like, yeah, I'll go do that. But like, again, none of my own creatives, none of my own assets, none of my own target. Like, they were just like, just watch this, basically. Watch this and spend 20 grand a day. Like, it'll work. It'll work. Yeah. But so in the ACA game, in that, to my understanding, there were the media buyer guys.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different directions here. So you could go through broker, you could go through network, or you could go direct, right?
Yep.
Then of that, sometimes these direct ones almost even have brokers that are like in-housey, right? Is that like and then who's this end all? Because then it goes to what? It goes to a call center, which is like an agency, and then the agency is then getting paid to government. Like, how? Like, what is the full-on chain for ACA?
Got it.
Like, where's the end all, be all money and the starter?
So the reason why ACA and Medicare are regulated is because they're government funded. So the taxpayers pay their taxes into the government. The government then does whatever God knows happens to that money, right? But part of that is funding Medicare and ACA programs. Medicare and ACA programs are essentially, for those that don't know, health insurance that is highly subsidized by the federal government. So essentially, the federal government is paying into large funds that are then being dispersed accordingly to cover people on programs. So one thing that we know is never, ever, ever fuck with the government's money, right? You can fucking kill somebody and get 17 years, but god damn it, you don't pay your taxes for 10 and you're avoiding, you're going for 25, right? Like, don't play with the government's money. So the reason why that's important is because the hierarchy is you have the government that funds the ACA carriers. The ACA carriers are the ones that work with the government to negotiate to figure out how much they can get paid from the government per month, per user, that is contracted with their contract of the insurance that that carrier provides, right? So think Aetna, think Blue Cross Blue Shield. Those are carriers. Those carriers do have internal sales like offices, but then also on top of that, you have the government funding, you have the carrier, which provides the contracts, but then you have the select quotes, the transacts, the e-healths. Those are the sales agencies. The sales agencies contract directly with the carriers. They don't work with the government, right? They work with the carriers. And the carriers say, okay, listen, select quote, you guys are going to have this XYZ Medicare plan. We're going to comp you $1,200 on a 9-month advance. We're going to comp you every time you enroll a new client with a new policyholder. We're going to comp you X amount. And now, mind you, that carrier is comping that to the sales agency who writes the policy for that carrier. But that carrier is getting funded from the government, right? So what happens is you have the lead generator that generates the call. And that call can go to a broker. Or that call can go directly. Or that call could go to a broker that goes to a broker that goes to a broker that ends up going to the buyer, which is very fucking commonplace. Because again, everything comes down to relationships. Yeah. And everybody just wants more fucking cap. So even if that means that you're going to have, a lower RPC, if you're at least breaking even or you're making a little bit of money, even $1 a call, man, run it 1,000 times a day and you'll make $1,000 a day. Like, it doesn't matter. But yes, maybe you're going to have a direct relationship. You're making $8 per call, and that's making you a fuck ton more. But again, you can layer in the different buyers so that's essentially the ecosystem. Yeah. But the reason why Medicare and ACA are not necessarily the most stable is because affiliates will run dirty fucking angles, like super black hat, super gray hat, get a $500 credit card by calling this phone number, right? So then they call the phone number, and then that goes to the broker, that goes to the sales agency, they close that deal, and then the problem is this. Ultimately, the problem was this. In Medicare, we can talk about ACA first. The problem was we had people that were signing up for an insurance plan on a Monday, right? And then on a fucking Tuesday, the day after, they see another ad, and it says, maybe they signed up for an ad that says get $6,400. It doesn't matter if you've already claimed these benefits, just see if you can qualify for more benefits. So then you had these affiliates that were smart, and what they did is they categorized callers on a no dupe. So basically a no dupe means no duplications and no duplicates. So what they would do is they would sell it to buyer A on a Monday, right? That caller would come in and then they'd sell it to whoever the highest bidder was. But then they'd keep on running traffic and they're retargeting, and that same fucking person will call in, but they will make sure that it's deduped with any of their current buyers. They may have 6 different buyers in their stack. So what happens is this person calls in on a Monday, they enroll. They call in on a Tuesday, now it's going to buyer B instead of buyer A because maybe that's just how the fucking cookie crumbles. Now this person's getting signed up with a new insurance provider, right? So now they're signing up, so now it's called a flip. So now they're flipping from one carrier to the next carrier. And the craziest part is the sales agency gets paid no matter how long that person stays on the books for that advance. Right? And this was like at the beginning of the time. The same thing with Medicare. So all of a sudden with Medicare, which I know a lot like more in depth on, Medicare got fucked because what was happening is the onshore and the offshore call centers were running outbound dialing on Medicare data, and their angle was always just see if you can get better benefits. Like, yes, I know you're already on a Medicare plan. That actually means you're qualified for a Medicare plan. Let's just have you talk with a sales agent to see if you can get a better plan. Now, the reality is, senior demographic, if you know anything about the senior demographic, they always want to save money. Their number one thing is just saving money. So if you call somebody on a Monday and you're like, hey, do you want to save money on a Medicare plan? And they're like, yes. And then they get transferred over and they close. And you call them on a fucking Tuesday. Or even more dirty, you call them an hour after you know they just closed. And you say, hey, I know you just talked to the sales agent and enrolled in a new Medicare plan, but I actually have another person you might want to talk to that might get you a better plan. And then they get transferred, and the Medicare agents, they're just trained to close policies.
Yeah,
so they just want to provide the best plan. And so what they'll do is they may be two different plans, right? Let's just talk about two different Medicare plans. One Medicare plan might be $5 a month for a Medicare Advantage plan. It might be $5 a month with XYZ benefit, right? And then there may be another plan that they can offer, which is $10 a month with 3 times the benefits. And they may be currently enrolled with the 3 times the benefit offer, but then the sales agent wants to close that policy. So I know you're getting better benefits, but you could be saving $5 a month, and I think you should save $5 a month. So they're enrolling in these fucking competing plans that they still qualify for, and the main problem was twofold. Number one, financially, where the carrier was paying the sales agency, and then they were getting flipped, and then that same carrier was paying another sales agency for that same fucking person. So now this person is being paid for by the carrier dozens of times, bro. And the sales agencies, they're making up their money, and they're just crushing it, right?
Yeah.
But the main problem out of everything is this. Fuck the financial. We had Grandma Susie that was walking into the pharmacy for her to go and get her diabetes medication. And she'd pull out her insurance card and she'd slap it down and she'd say, okay, I'm ready for my prescription. And they'd run it in their little system and they'd go, Susie, you're not currently insured with Anthem. I don't know who you're insured with, but in our system, this is no longer an active policy. And she's going, okay, well, I'll figure it out, but I need my diabetes pills. And she's going, okay, that'll be $745. And she's like, how the fuck am I supposed to pay that? And they're like, I don't know, but you need an insurance policy, so go ahead and call it. So now Grandma Susie has to leave, and now she's trying to call every fucking phone number to try to figure out who the fuck am I insured by? Because she's literally talked to 7 different agencies in the past month, right? And this was a serious fucking problem. It was a serious fucking problem. As you can imagine, blood pressure pills, diabetes, fucking memory, everything you could think of, these seniors were actually being taken advantage of. And so, yes, people made a ton of money, including myself. But we didn't run like that, right? We worked with different kinds of partners. But this shit happened. So that's why, ultimately, people were getting taken advantage of. And on top of that, the government funding was getting fucked with. So because of both of those things, Medicare got nerfed. Because of those things, ACA got nerfed, right? And right now, most of the people that are selling ACA as a call center, they're not even considering selling ACA by the end of the year. They're thinking books are going to be dried up and done before the end of the year, bro.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because
and then
they're running so many
just
dupes.
Pulled out of providing insurance policies. They completely pulled out, bro. They're not even if Aetna, huge. Yeah. They pull out, bro. Get the fuck. And then I forget the name. There's Alliance or something like that. I just heard through the wind that Alliance was a huge funding partner for a lot of ACA floors, and they completely pulled out. They stopped the funding. Bro.
Yeah,
that's
it's so interesting talking to the people in different spaces. I mean, a lot of the guys I end up talking to are in my world and this info coaching thing, and I could talk for 12 hours about different funnel types and back ends and front ends and everything's in-house or this or partnerships. But this bigger, this is just a whole different game, right?
Yeah.
To me. So what you guys are creating then in that hierarchy is going to be more so the sales agency style of this. Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah, so we're going to be building the sales agency and we're getting the contracts directly from the carriers, or we're going to work with another company that's contracted that will get us better contracts than if we went direct.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? If you It's the same thing with networks, right? A lot of times guys are like, why would I run to a network when I can run direct as like a lead provider? Well, maybe because that network has been working with that buyer for fucking 3 years. They have hella traffic, they have proven quality, and so they can actually offer you better payouts than if you were to go directly and be like, hey, I want to sell you calls. They may be like, yeah, I don't know, we have to test your quality, we give you $30 a call. Whereas if you go to the direct network, or you go to the network, they've been working with them forever. They're like, oh yeah, we actually get paid 60, so we can offer you 50, and you'll make money by making more money by working with the fucking network. Also payment terms. Networks may be more prone to give you like a weekly net 7 compared to like a monthly net 30 that you'll get from the direct buyer, because they just want to aggregate the traffic and make margins.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, yeah, this is mad interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just a whole
Yeah,
lot.
no. I like this whole hierarchy thing. I always talk about here, like everything's a funnel, and like how deep can you take it? Like how far can you go?
Yeah.
And like the end game of there is you own an Aetna or you're the government, right? Like if you go up the hierarchy, but like unrealistic, but like how far do you want to take it? Do you just want to be a media buyer and you want to make your millions a year and you want to be the best of the best? Do you want to go this next rung and not necessarily even an income, but like up the ladder, down the ladder, whatever, and do broker? Do you want to do sales agency? Do you want to do like? There's just levels to this stuff. And we talk about that in info and coaching. It's like that generally it's how big is your back end. Mm-hmm. So like these guys that do info and coaching around wealth management or around taxation, they have a profitable front end. They have an info coaching business that makes 4x ROAS, let's call it, right? And they do 20 million bucks a year and like that's their game. But where they make all this money on the back end is they're a financial advisor, they're a fiduciary, they have partners that are wealth managers or family offices or insurance policies or like all this game of that, and they make tens of millions over here. That's just boom, like it's just straight profit, right? Like all of this is ad spend, team, whatever you've got to run your info coaching, but then this, and ours is like fulfillment stacks, is their supplement, there's these other things there, but nowhere like this.
Yeah.
So do you have a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So selfish, very curious.
Yeah.
I've been so interested in this game for so long. I have dabbled. I have, done the thing. I have never done it where I bring in partners or do it in that way. I've either been the partner that's brought in, right? Like I'm a co-owner, not a co-founder of this info coaching game. And I have been, paid well and done some fun stuff in the lead gen game, but it's always been like a spiff of what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So what is the lean model? What is the game plan that if you were to start, if you're me and I'm like, okay, cool, I want to do the side quest and I want to build this team. Like, is it a media buyer, a creative, and just partner up with a broker? Is it get a biz dev guy and start to try and go some version of direct and basically build something that's doing, let's target 100K a month in profit, let's say.
Yeah.
Like what's the model that you would run for someone like that?
So 100K a month in profit, divided by 20 working business days, $5,000 a day in profit. $5 per call. If you're not wanting to do the broker, you want to generate internally.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that would be a more, because then the other game of this is like how scalable is it, and then where is their actual like potential exit value? Because I know some of the guys that were in the mid tens that have sold, and they had a bigger kind of crew, but they were generating. But they also they had direct relationships at that point. I'm sure they did some broker, but like they had that. But they had guys going out like teaching call centers how to do the certain scripts. Like they were at some level end to end, but they built up a book that was then, and the machine of acquisition on the front that they could sell that entire thing. And like, that's a notch on the belt I want. I think we're going to go that direction in info and coaching, but like I have friends that are doing this that I could partner with. I have myself that, has some bandwidth as this opens up. I'm just curious.
As I said earlier, I would say that the best thing that you can do if you're looking to generate, because if you were looking to broker like we do, I would say the first thing is find the traffic. So if you already have it, because like it's kind of like this. If you get a phone call from a good friend and he's like, dude, I have this crazy play. We should go to Colombia and we should meet with the fucking top cartel and we should move a ton of coke. And you're like, yeah, we'll make millions. And then you hop on a flight and you go meet up with this drug lord and you're like, don't worry, Pablo, we're going to get you all the cocaine you could dream of. And he's like, okay, great. And then you turn around and you go, okay, where do we get this coke? And now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, fuck. If you go to a buyer and you're like, dude, I can get you the best fucking calls in the world. It's going to crush. And then you turn around and you're like, where are the calls? Then you're cooked, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking to be a broker, always find the traffic first. If you're a media buyer and you want to generate the traffic yourself, go and find the buyers. Find somebody that like, and take your time, you know, don't feel like you gotta spin up really quick with a network because you just want to see if it's gonna work. It will work. It will obviously fucking work. We know there's plenty of people that will make it work. The question is, how good is your relationship, right? How good can it work? Not only will it work, but how good will it work? So I would go and find the buyer, and I'd talk to him, and I'd find a direct buyer, and I'd say, listen, you have 20 agents, you have 40 agents, you have 300 agents, whatever it is. This is who I am and what I can provide. And this is what I've done so far to show what I'm capable of. I would love nothing more than to be a very high quality lead or call generation source for you to depend on. That call generation source that you know is going to consistently provide high quality traffic. Your agents are going to be happy when they see my traffic come in. You know what I'm saying? They're going to close a lot of deals. You're going to make a lot of money. You have consistently low CPAs. That is who I want to be for you. What I need you to be for me is X, Y, and Z. I need you to pick up the phones. I need you to give me a static line. I need you to static payout. I will do everything for you. And even if you're down, bro, I'll give you a free $3,000 test. Like, I'll run traffic. I don't give a fuck about $3,000. If this is something we can seriously do together, and if you'll take me seriously, I'll give you a free test. And once you see my traffic is really fire and it outcompetes some of your other sources, maybe not everybody, but some of them, then I want you to give me more cap and I want to grow with you. And then after you get that one relationship established and stabilized, then it's so easy to go find other partners. And bro, you just play them on the competition game. You're like this, hey, Mr. Go Health, we're actually currently selling to SelectQuote, and we have like a $300 CPA with them, and they're super fucking happy. And I'd love nothing more than to diversify our partner list. And I've actually heard that you're really good as a client. So I would love nothing more than to scale with you. And if you're willing to pay me $5 more per call, I'll give you all of Go Health's traffic. Or I'll select, I don't remember who, I'll give you your competitor's traffic. And then they're like, oh, really? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, fuck it. And then you have another buyer. Yeah. Like, and then you just fucking stack and you stack and you stack, bro. And if you have all of your shit compliant, you have your processes in place, you can show them real data in terms of KPIs and CPAs and, you know, everything. Bro, it's not hard. It's really not, because like I was just on a consulting call yesterday with this guy who's been trying to find buyers, right? And he sends me screenshots and he goes, man, I just don't know what to say when I get on the call. And so we did consulting about that. But the thing is bro, if you just reach out to these people on LinkedIn, hey, this is what I'm offering. And in my school group, which I don't know if you watch that part of the course, if you want, I can see the thing. But the point is, I have a whole, like, the perfect fucking outbound message, which is literally like, hey, Mr. Buyer, this is, I heard your company is looking for more XYZ kind of traffic. We're currently generating this traffic with XYZ CPA. I'd love nothing more than to test, you know, working with you and see if we're going to be a great partner in traffic. Are you open to this? Yeah. Bro, it's the easiest fucking sale. You're not asking for 50 G's up front. You're not telling them, oh yeah, we want to build you a website and, you know, do this creative and all the shit that most retainer agencies have to sell on. You're like, do you want me to give you leads for free? They're like, why not? And then next thing you know, we have a fucking contract, bro. Like, literally, it's that. Like, the thing is about pay-per-call is selling is actually super fucking easy. As long as you make it easy for yourself and as long as you have real shit to sell. It's really not hard to sell. Like, I'll give you a free $1,000 test. Do you want it or no? And they're like, fuck it. Sure. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that could happen for them? It's a free $1,000 test. If it works really well, boom, they've got a great new lead provider. If it sucks, either A, you suck as a media buyer and you can go to them and be like, my bad, give me another test. I figured out what I did wrong. I didn't qualify properly on the landing page. My bad. And then you're out $1,000 and you do it again and then boom, you got the fucking account. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now you can do $100,000 a week with them. You know what I'm saying?
Nuts. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. I'm dancing with this idea back and forth. I've got this kid that's local that's, you know, I want to do something. I'm like, I don't, you know, you can't fit in the main co for what this is, but there's all these other opportunities that just come to me all the time. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, maybe it's the broker route and then go from there. And then if you want to run internal, you do. And like you said, you know, conflict of interest potential if you just fill.
Like I actually made a tweet earlier. I guess, what do you call it, an X
I
post?
don't know, dude. I was talking about
What do
this
you,
I was talking about this all last week, like with my friends, joking. I was like, "Am I tweeting still, or am I Xing? Like, am I X
yeah,
posting?"
like, is this just, I just made an X? That's
Yeah,
weird. That
yeah. It
doesn't
doesn't
sound
roll.
right.
It doesn't roll.
We're going to stick with tweeted. So I tweeted earlier today. Let me just read this tweet really quick because I think this will also really help. Um, Especially like, bro, because yesterday I was asked this question on a consulting call. He's like, man, like, just where do I start? So this is my tweet. I said, if I was to completely restart my pay-per-call journey and wanted to make $4,500 per day in profit as quickly as humanly possible, I would focus on finding a fire inbound call lead generator. I would structure a referral deal with said call generator at $3 per billable call. I'd talk to that guy and I'd be like, yo, dog, I'm going to find you buyers. I'm going to close the deals. All I ask is that you give me $3 per billable call. I would find 3 buyers in that call generator's vertical who can take 500 billable calls per day. It's not that many calls. And then I would do 1,500 billable calls per day across the 3 different buyers at 500 billables times $3 per billable. And my brother in Christ, you're already at $400 or $4,500 per day in fucking profit that
Yeah,
you are not spending money on. And then
yeah,
at the end, I said, if I'm a retard and I can do it, I promise you can do it too.
yeah. Important case note.
Point
Yeah,
case. So
yeah,
that's the reality is it may make more sense for you if you want to build good rapport with your buyer. You may just be like, hey, call Jen, dude, that's near me, young kid. I know you can crack it. Once you have it dialed, maybe you already have it dialed. If you already have it dialed, I'm going to introduce you to this buyer because I spent, a couple weeks turning some stones and finding some buyers. And I promise for you and your already development network, I guarantee you, if you make a couple posts or you start asking some people, somebody knows a fucking good insurance agency. Like
yeah,
they're everywhere. There's so
yeah,
much money. And if you roll with people that make money, they're always like I have like 3 or 4 really good friends that I sell traffic to. We started out as friends and I'm like, oh, wait, you do insurance? And they're like, yeah, I have an insurance for it. And I'm like, dude, I sell Medicare calls. And he's like, oh, fuck, let's do it. Right? So it's like, if you're working or hanging out with people that already have money, odds are either them or one of their friends has an insurance agency.
yeah,
So it may make sense for you to have that conversation, find somebody that's willing to buy. Then you go to somebody that's already generating that you know is fire. And you tell them, I'm just going to connect you directly. Don't you dare fuck me. And just pay me $3 per billable call, bro. And then you can learn the model, you can see it real time, you can understand the problems that will arise from it, and it's always fucking something different. It's every business has its ups and downs, and every business has its problems. It's all about what problems do you want to solve, right? So at the end of the day, like if you just connect them directly and you just make a couple bucks on it, bro, you're not
yeah,
doing shit. It's all profit, and you get to learn the model.
yeah. No, it's beautiful.
You feel me?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you. Yeah, I'm going to connect with you after on this because I have some interesting stuff around there. But yeah, I mean, we have pieces of that whole puzzle already. And it's like the bigger thing, and to anybody who already listens to this knows, like we are scaling so heavily right now with the info coaching to the point that it's like, is this distraction? Yes, for sure. But is it like interest mapping and fun? And like,
Yeah,
is
it's
there
fun.
overlap? Yes. So like I maybe can justify, but this was my interest scratch
Yeah.
and also my, like I didn't need those every once in a
Yeah.
while. I need
Of course.
those, and
Of
then
course.
as I continue to scale out of this, I want to be able to remove where the time spent, and then also test the partnership model, which I've never done. I've always been the one who's in it, boots on the ground, clicking the keys to make something work. And I have so many friends, and I'm sure like you included, where you make spiffs over here and here and here, like you just said, through relationship. I had Eddie Maloof on here, and he's like, oh yeah, and this and this and this, and he's got 9 deals, and I'm like, but you run the agency. And he's like, oh yeah, but that was either a little capital or a couple conversations or a buddy who did this, and I just help with it. And like he's got this chunk and this chunk and this chunk and partners, and I'm like, yeah, that's something I don't have the skill set of yet, and it's
Yeah.
something I would like to have into the
Yeah,
future.
and like as you know, scaling is kind of boring. Like
Scaling can be boring, yeah.
it kind of gets like it's cool, and then all of a sudden you'll have these little plateaus. You're like, how do we get past the plateaus? And then you figure it out because you're a good businessman, and then you're like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's kinda
yeah.
like,
Which I'm trying to be like. That's your ship comment, right? It's like
yeah,
just stay in the ship, just
you
stay
just fucking just,
directionally focused, and like, but that focus thing is so real. So I'm navigating that, but like, I just love to learn about these things, and I know there's a play to be made. It's just if it's now, if it's with a partner, it's
yeah.
how it's structured. So cool, man. All right, well, where do people find you? You got funny handles on stuff.
Yeah, so Billion8 on Instagram and on Twitter. Nate Ancelet on YouTube. Like seriously, if any of your viewers want to like learn about this, start with my YouTube. I have a ton, like I have like 5 really solid videos. You'll probably hear a lot of the same things, but it was a lot of information that I provided on this call. So like go watch the YouTube videos. I fucking took a long time to make them. Like even if it doesn't look like it, it's a lot of work. We did that, and then if it's if it's something that you're actually interested in like learning more about, bro, I have a $27 fucking course, bro. Like hop in it, learn it, and then like I said, I also built a sexy community. We have over
Yeah.
300 people in there now, and like just go in there, learn how to do it. Once you learn how, work with the people who are also like learning it, working on it, trying to find buyers, trying to find sellers. Bro, there's so many good, high quality people in that group. And like I moderate it. So if anybody comes to me and they're like, oh, hey, this guy's kind of shady, I immediately hop on that call up with the person, make sure everything's good, make sure it's quality. Because the last thing I want is some fucking bullshit going on in my group. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And if it does
100%.
happen, they're immediately kicked. It's like adios.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
luckily, that still hasn't happened. So
Yeah, and I can vouch for both those. I mean, like I said, I'm a buyer of information access things. I always do it, always have. I think I even got in when you were doing your higher gated thing. Like I don't know, I was just like I'm in. And yeah, I ripped through it in a weekend. It's concise, but it's like packed with info on how to do it. And I didn't understand the broker game before that. I only knew the buy, like media buyer side of it. So yeah, and then I just got into the group, and it's a bunch of killers in there. So it's a bunch
yeah,
of
and
bunch
that's
of
the
familiar
other
names.
cool thing about it is a lot of media buyers or people that want to learn to generate, what I'm hearing from them, because there are people obviously that are joining and then leaving, and I'm asking every single person that leaves, I said, man, I just want to make this the best possible community. Like, can you tell me why is it that you're leaving? I don't care, like, it's fine, of course, I'll love, but why are you leaving? And the biggest thing I'm hearing is people that are going, well, because I want to learn how to generate the traffic, I don't want to learn how to broker it. But the reality is I also teach how to sell that traffic. And the reality is selling is I told you it's all relationships, right?
Yeah.
So it's like even if you're like, oh, I don't want to, I don't need to learn how to generate. I already know how to generate. Get in there and learn how to sell it. Learn how to position yourself. Like I said, like if you hit somebody up on LinkedIn, you're like, hey, I'm looking to sell calls, bro. You're gonna be lost in the wind. But if
Yeah.
you're like, this is what I'm doing. I heard your company is this. This is our CPAs. It's that, and you break it down exactly like I tell you, bro. Your like success rate is gonna be so much higher because here's one thing: nobody wants to be sold anything, but we're all down to partner.
Yeah.
We're all
100%.
down to partner and make money.
100%.
It doesn't matter if you're you or me or the biggest fucking carrier in the world. If there's a partnership opportunity where you're gonna make me money and we're gonna grow, they want it. We all want it. Just don't fucking sell. Like if you're on, you're like, oh, I'm gonna sell you. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, bro. This is
Yeah.
what I'm on the call for. I'm here to provide value to you and your viewers, right? So sorry, but anyway.
No. It's solid.
You,
So
bro.
cool. Yeah, no, we'll definitely people check that out. And you and I will be in contact after this, and we'll probably have some follow-up ones with some funny
Let's
stories.
go. Yeah, sounds good, my brother. Well, I appreciate you and thank you for bringing me on here. And I'm glad I could, give some sauce, bro. I
Yeah,
look forward to
100%.
helping whoever the fuck comes from here.
Sauce is real.
Right on, bro.